Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all doing really well out there in Cloud World. I know things are pretty intense right now, so hope you're coping okay. So today I want to speak to you about why you shouldn't connect with Archangel Michael and in fact any other false white light beings out there. The reason being, and I can tell you from first-hand experience, really down to the work that I do in terms of clearing negative energy and implants and things like that, is that most of what resides in the fourth dimension, which is where people are trying to connect to when they're trying to tap into Archangel Michael, friendly aliens, Arcturians, all this kind of stuff. Most beings in that dimension are negative. And what there is a lot of in that dimension is false white light beings. And these are basically exactly that. These are beings that are masquerading as of the light, when in fact they are very negative by nature. And they are causing big problems because in this new age scene, this pseudo-spiritual, anti-spiritual movement, which I now refer to it as, you have vast amount of people that, and I get it, being in this dimension in 3D physical form is very challenging. Especially right now, a lot of us have had trauma, and there is a deep longing to kind of escape outside of ourselves or connect with something outside of ourselves. And quite often, many people within that movement are looking for something to make them feel better, which again I completely understand, or they're looking for something or someone else to completely save them because they either don't want to face what they need to face on their own, or they want a quick fix, or whatever the reason is. So the new age is very attractive for many reasons to these people, because it's full of sparkles, it's full of rainbows and unicorns. There's a real kind of feel-good factor about it. You don't have to focus on anything negative, and you just call in these beings and they'll heal you. Well, this is increasingly, I'm realizing, a massive, massive problem. And as I say, this is from first-hand experience, 6 years working in this field, of people, clients coming to me having spent hundreds and thousands of dollars on angel healings, certain activations, rituals, Archangel Michael healings, Arcturian frequency healings, all this stuff. And they email me telling me that they've spent hundreds of, or if not thousands of dollars, and they basically still feel like rubbish, and they're feeling drained, they're not feeling any further forward. And the correlation is clear to see firsthand, because once you work on these people and you pull off this false white light energy, they then start to feel more energized, more clearer, with more clarity. So it kind of speaks for itself. And it's a big problem because not only are people trying to connect with these beings themselves, and it doesn't take much for them to come in. Basically, when you have that intention, say you're just about to go to sleep at night and your intention is to connect with Archangel Michael before you go to sleep, that is enough. That's a contract for him to come in and siphon your energy and use you as a battery and give you sometimes false downloads, tell you falsehoods, and you might get a false high for a little while, but then there's the inevitable crash. And this is going on with healers as well, and I want to make this clear that not all healers have bad intentions. Certainly most of them don't. They're just ignorant to the fact that this stuff exists and it is masquerading. And a lot of them won't acknowledge or look at this information because the ego gets in the way, and they just want to carry on believing that everything that they're connected to is of the light and that there's not a problem. Well, I'm telling you firsthand, it's a big, big problem. And we have to stop. And people in the New Age movement, this spiritual scene, so-called spiritual scene, there has to be an awakening from this false awakening, because what has happened is people are waking up to the fact that they are more than just a human, which is great, and we need more of that, and we need more people to realize that we're eternal and that we're just energy, and energy never dies. That's a very empowering truth. But what they have done quite cleverly is they have built this story around it where there's all these other beings that you can connect to, and they're going to help you, they're going to save you, and you don't have to do anything because the Pleiadians are going to come down soon, or you know, the Archons are going to give us special frequencies, or you know, Archangel Michael is here waiting in the wings. And these are just huge falsehoods and deceptions, and people are getting caught up in these cul-de-sacs, giving all their energy away to these false white light beings. It's just the same as Jesus, you know, all religion. And I've spoken before about, you know, the word prey. What is prey? Like a lion eats its prey. And this is what is happening. People are praying, they're giving their energy away, they're having their energy siphoned, because instead of realizing their true power and connecting with the voice within, the inner self, and I've said before, I don't even like the term higher self. And I'm pretty sure my intuition tells me that that is also some kind of deception, and potentially somewhere where our energy might be siphoned off, because we have all, I know it sounds cliche, but we do have all the answers within ourselves. We do have the power to make a difference in our own lives and in the collective as well. And the idea behind them is that if they can get us to look outside of ourselves, then we're never going to be or realize our own truth and power. And the biggest realization that is, we had the power, and we have the power all along. We have just forgotten it. We have just disconnected from it. So we see expressions of this in 4D with the false white light beings, but we also see it very much so in 3D as well, with the political arena, gurus, things like that, where they will promise you the earth, and they'll whisper sweet nothings in your ears, and they will tell you that they're going to do this for you, they're going to do that for you. What happens? They lie. You end up in a worse situation. We end up more enslaved, because we're not learning the lesson that we need to learn, in that we have to stop giving our power away in not just this dimension, but that dimension as well. Now, I'm not saying that you can't have a helping hand from someone, But the problem is that we are not discerning. That's the key word here. There is no discernment, or there is a lack of discernment, because especially in the New Age movement, there is this wanting to feel good all the time. And I get it. Who doesn't want to feel good? I want to feel good. But what feels good isn't always necessarily what is true.
Today, I want to talk about a little bit about the Archangel Azrael. Now, I am addressing this thing because I was just talking to one of my clients, and he has like issues with like a lot of beings messing with him, and specifically trying to talk to him and make sure that he stays here in the physical universe, that he reincarnates, that he's feeling bad, wrong, and guilty for just being a normal human being. And so, like, I'm looking into, like, okay, who's messing with you? Why are they doing this? And, like, what's the whole hierarchy? Like, I want to find out the whole picture. So I started looking into his case, and one thing I find out is, like, again, I worked with him previously, and it's been the Archangel Michael that was messing with him. And those guys, like archangels, we have good beings and bad beings, and some of them are really icky. And the thing is, with the whole angels, archangels, deities, like gods and stuff like that, there's one that can be okay, that you read about and that you feel like, oh my god, like Jesus and all this stuff, like they're very good to me and stuff. But at the same time, there are entities and other beings who will label themselves God, the Archangel, the Angel, the Spirit Guides, and all the other things. So these entities, a lot of times, will try to pick up the labels and be the thing we're calling for help for. So like, God, please help me. And you have a demonic being coming into your space and helping you because demonic being is calling itself God, or your spirit guide, or someone else that you're asking help for, but not being specific. So a lot of times they come into our space because we are inviting them without really knowing about it, or other times they just really interfere with us because of our past lives, or we're just being targeted. So Archangel Michael is one of the icky ones, but now the Archangel Azrael, the angel of death, the angel that helps people to cross over and go to heaven. Wow, what an icky being. Like, the thing I'm getting and finding out is like the whole picture of this like Azrael comes over and tries to help people that like passed away. He's gonna help them to, okay, like, let me show you heaven, I'm gonna bring you there. And I'm looking at this whole picture when I'm out of body, and what I'm seeing is like he just like tries to tell a lie and basically trap people in the angelic realms. Now there's a few things. It might seem like, oh, it's a great realm, like, like it's the heaven, it's our like angelic realm, everything's fine. And I'm looking there like everything seems normal, like people are happy, they're watering the plants, they're swimming in their boat, everything's fine. But the longer I'm being there, the more I'm finding out everything is a true man show. It's basically everyone's set up. Their whole life, they just pass away from Earth and they cross over and they like come here into this angelic realm. What happens is that they live a normal, happy, peaceful life. That it's repetitive as can be. They forget all of their memories and they live with one little thing. I am going to water the plants. And the whole day the person's watering the plants. Watering the plants. But then the thing is, everyone has their own little job, their own little thing that they're going to do. And it's like having a scenario, having yourself being programmed. And like, you wake up in the morning and you have to get on the boat, and the whole day you're going to be like rowing and just like being in a scene, like rowing around and like always swimming in one lake. Like, okay, is that all you want to do for the rest of your life? And I'm looking, some of those beings have been there thousands of years, sitting on a bench holding a book. They're not reading it, they're just looking and staring at it. For thousands of years they're stuck in that one little place, reading that one little thing, and they're turning the page. And that's it, they don't do anything. Like, you try to interact with beings over there, and it's like watching Greta Thunberg trying to speak on her own opinion about the global warming and not reading a script. Like, when she has a script, and she can go on and on and on and talk about how bad it is. But if someone asks her own opinion, all of a sudden she starts stuttering and don't know what to say, and it's a big deal. And all of a sudden she's basically saying everything opposite of what the script was about. She can't talk for herself. So the same thing is with beings over there who are like, you know, like ask them a question like, hi, who are you? And they tell you the name, like, what are you doing here? Oh, like, Archangel Azrael helped me to come here, and angels are very loving, and I'm just having a nice life here. And they're enjoying their little thing. But they did the same thing for hundreds and thousands of years, rowing a boat for thousands of years. And I'm looking at this whole picture, okay, I'm trying to ask a conversation, like, okay, so what happened when you crossed over, or like crossed over? They mentioned the, Azrael coming over and helping them to, like, go there. Okay, but what happened before your death? I don't remember. What would you like to do now? Oh, I just want to get back to rowing my boat, reading my book or something. Okay, but what do you want to do later? And they're like, what do you mean? And they, like, all of a sudden, they're looking at you like you're the devil, and they're questioning you like, oh, like, who? You're the intruder. We should get the angels to take you out. You're the bad guy. And you're trying to help them to wake up, to ask them more questions, to make them at least realize that, like, hey, you're in the system, you're in the program, something's wrong here. And they're not seeing the whole picture. So I'm looking around some more, and what I'm finding out is, like, all the beings who are in that, like, angelic realm, they're basically like gears in the mechanism. Like, they're making everything work. And their energy is being drained out to power up and create its realm and extend it. So every person who comes there, and let's say they might like fishing, they might like rowing, they might like just walking in the park. The thing that they like will be extended realm. And this realm is infinite. The more beings you bring there, the more the realm will, like, expand. And it's basically every single person does a repetitive thing 24/7. Every single minute of the day, they're just walking in the park. Like, they don't have anything. They're just, like, working like a program, like an NPC. And so millions of beings are being taken by this angel of death, the Azrael, and trapped in this, like, realm, and they can't get out. Like, they're still enslaved, and they're still, like, in this physical, except, like, it's a realm of the angels, and oh, like, the big deal, they're free from Earth, they're free from this, they're not sinners. And now they're just gears in the mechanism, completely brainwashed, completely mindless, and they're just, like, working things, and whew, that's kind of like it's kind of my mind-boggling, you know. So when I look at these things, like working with people and looking at these like angelic beings, archangels, a lot of them might be good. Some of them might be helpful. Some of them might want to do good for you, and that's okay. But a lot of these beings will put a label, I am the Archangel Michael. And we have billions of people lining up calling themselves Archangel Michael. And we have billions of other ETs and like people who are labeling themselves as God or Jesus or someone else, Mother Mary, and they come to you with all their love and you're, I'm your spirit guide, I'm your grandma. Get the hell out of here, I don't want to know you and stuff.
And so for me, this all started maybe a year ago. I was watching David Icke's video where he is divulging his findings and his perspectives around Archons. Now, for those of us who have been in metaphysics a while, we may have heard of the term Archon. And this term is well known to be a negative polarity ruling force, a ruling group of entities that has a strong arm on our reality, which a lot of us also term the matrix or the net. And that's something that often across the board is agreed upon in regard to metaphysics. So Archon literally translates to ruler. Now, another piece, we're going to go kind of take a sidestep. So we've got Archon, which there is a mass agreement that this is negative polarity energy. And when I say negative polarity, that's another way of saying it's rising above the very limited 3D judgments of bad and good, light and dark, heaven and hell, these kind of things. Negative polarity, positive polarity. So that's one way of saying the way that these beings shift their service to self as opposed to service to others. So, and then David Icke starts going into Elohim and speaking about the Elohim that are also known as lords. So in the Bible, the biblical texts, we come across the term Elohim in regard to the angels and the archangels. And then the Bible goes through quite a clear hierarchy of the angelic realms. And so, and not in this particular order because I have not memorized the hierarchy. There are the archangels, there is Elohim, there is seraphim, there is cherubim, and so on and so forth. And so in David Icke's explanation of the Elohim, he starts pulling the prefix El and then going down a list of other names that are popular throughout history. And a couple of the names he lists is Archon, Archangel, Michael, Raphael, Samuel. So he starts doing this. And I hear that, and it puts a bug in my ear, because for a very long time, as many of you know who have followed me, my dominant guides have been the archangels, especially Archangel Raphael. It's been a soul aspect of mine that I have aligned with very thoroughly. And I would receive a lot of guidance through the archangels, and I trusted them deeply. And so I immediately started to look up the definition of Archon, Arch. And, in one of the definitions that I found it said something like a powerful being. It was quite neutral like that. And I let that satiate my curiosity at that time, because I was not ready to know the truth if it meant that the archangels were in fact not who they thought not who I thought they were. I wasn't ready for that. So I let it be, but it was in the back of my head, okay? And fast forward, I started watching Sovereign Key, which is a channel that I'll list in the links below. And the woman Lauda Leon, who is a co-producer on this channel, did a podcast with another woman, and they very subtly started talking about the Elohim, but they shifted the word around it, and they didn't clarify certain things, but they spoke of it in a way that alluded to the Elohim are negative beings as well, and the angels and the archangels. And so that information was like, okay, now I'm pretty sure I know, and what am I going to do with this? So I just immediately, and this was about 2-3 months ago, I immediately withdrew my affiliation and calling on the archangels. I stopped channeling them. I no longer activated them in healings or transmissions. I didn't speak of it, and none of my clients seemed to notice or bring it up that I wasn't calling on them anymore as dominant guides until I had my facts. And so I told a friend that this was happening, and also a colleague, and she said, well, let's channel it. And I have been resisting it because I didn't want to know fully. And so she brought it up in the channeling, and that was what came out in the last video. And as Saint Germain explains, I didn't want to fully know because I wasn't ready to accept the grief and the sadness that I have around that and what that means in regard to my karma. Because as Archangel Raphael, being one of my dominant 13 aspects of my soul, that's a lot of karma. That's a lot of negative polarity karma. So, while I put that video out and I was quite emotional in that video, I want all of you to understand that because I'm constantly working with my emotional body, I'm very comfortable being in a experience where I let my emotions come out and I share them and I run them. I let my emotions, energy and motions flow. I'm actually in a fabulous place in my life. For those of you that were concerned, thank you for your concern. It was simply me being in an emotional space in that moment. And so after that channeling, I immediately revoked and rebuked and canceled, cleared out all false white light.